Yeah.
That's great. How'd you get into the modeling stuff? And like, did anything happen that pushed you towards it?
I think most models would probably say this. I didn't look in the mirror and think, oh, I should be a model. Like that was not even remote.
Me either.
Yeah. So that wasn't even on the radar. And you know, and I was kind of a gawky kid, so that's just not how I self-identified. What ended up happening was I was playing football at Princeton.
Yeah.
I was having shoulder issues because, you know, when I had been younger, I also did some gymnastics and it kind of stretched out my shoulder ligaments because I used to do the rings.
Okay.
And so when I was playing offense, it was fine. But when I started to play a lot of defense and the tackling, just kind of literally, I would tackle someone wrong. My arm would go numb.
Oh, yeah,
I would have to shake my arm, try to back to life before the next play. And it was just becoming too common and too hard to manage. So the trainer basically said, you have to stop. And I went up to New York to see a doctor to get a second opinion. This is around my junior year. So it was actually the year when I really had a shot at starting. And so I kind of worked my way up the food chain to think like, oh, maybe I get the shot. But he said we'd have to operate because I basically had stretched ligaments in both shoulders.
How are they now?
Yeah. I can still partially dislocate them if it looks weird.
No way.
Yeah, it's like it's just something you live with and you manage. But like I can't fall asleep with my hands behind my head like that. Otherwise, I'll fall out.
No Macarena.
Yeah, yeah. And so basically, he said, you know, we can operate. We can't guarantee you'll get full mobility in the sense that you may not be able to reach all the way over your head. And I'm like, well, if I'm playing defensive back, I got to do that. So I kind of hit this crossroads, and that's when this guy I had met actually up on Nantucket, who was a friend of mine, who had been a model, said, you know, have you ever thought about modeling or acting, and made that suggestion. And that's where I looked into it. Yeah, I mean, I think I was, 20, 21 years old at that time. And it's like, how do you make a decision when you're hitting a life crisis? So it's like, oh, I thought, my whole identity was a football player. And then I'm like, well, if I can't be a football star, I guess I'll try to be a star of some sort. And that was literally the mentality I had of that. So I just kind of put my hat in the ring, and it kind of started to go from there.
What was like one of the first gigs?
I did a cover for Brides magazine, which is kind of where a lot of models started because they would use kind of green, newbies. But I got to do it with Kathy Ireland, who was this Sports Illustrated swimsuit model at the time. And I was just like, oh my God. Like, I mean, literally, I felt like I got to know her very well in my teenage years, and it's like, there she is. And so that was like this realization that, oh my God, this is like,
kind of gave you a glimpse into the future.
A glimpse of what it could be. And then my I think the job I did even before that one was I got this job as for an underwear. It was called Bonjour underwear. They normally had made jeans, Bonjour jeans, but I get this call and I'm thinking, because I still had played football, I was in pretty good shape, and I'm all thinking, oh, this is kind of cool. And I arrived there. And I quickly find out that my face is not even in the shot. Like, it's just my crotch.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then to make, matters worse, they said, oh, and by the way, we're going to have to stuff you. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so I've got this guy, and I'm just trying to be professional and just look up, and he's like taking tissue and just stuffing it in my... And luckily it was a female photographer. So when I came out to set, she's like, oh my God, what did you do to this guy's crotch? Like, so the picture that ended up on the back of buses, as it was, was just all me, no stuffing. It was just, so luckily, at least I could come away with some dignity that way.
Yeah, bonjour.
Yeah, bonjour, exactly.